Just now by satellite from New York, and well, it's good to have you with us.
Oh,
hey, that Rocky, first Rocky, was a classic. You guys shot that thing for about 450,000. It was a wonderful piece of work.
Thank you. It was a miracle. It shot in 28 days, and who knew it would end up? Here we are, 30 years later.
Aren't you a little afraid you're going to damage the franchise or something?
Well, what happened, I'll tell you, Pat, is that the first one, the fifth one, or the last one installment, I felt as though I left everybody down. It really wasn't about anything. And if you really go back to the first Rocky, people don't realize the first shot is this shot of Christ, and it comes down over the beams of the church. It says resurrection, then it goes to Rocky being pummeled. And what I was trying to say is this man has been chosen for a journey. He's at the lowest strata of society, and we're watching him eventually find Christian ideals, that he finds love. He starts to bring people together, all these, what I would call society's outcasts, and they all come together for one unified family spirit, and that's how they triumph. Alone, they're not very, very strong. Together, they're invincible.
Well, how about this last one? I mean, Rocky
well, the last one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the last one exactly is now, after he has all this family core values, his wife has died. So now the wool has been, the rug has been pulled out from under him. He's at his lowest depths. He goes, how can this be? And it's about pulling yourself up from the doldrums of society and of depression and clawing your way back up, finding the light, finding the spirit, moving on. He surrounds himself with old friends, even ex-fighters that read scripture, and then when he goes into the ring, he goes in with a sense of kind of like he's doing God's work. He really is on a mission.
Well, the average viewer is going to say, boxing, you're slamming somebody, what happened with that Russian, you were giving him everything you possibly could. How is that Christian?
Well, because, there is one thing about speaking the word, but eventually you do need the crusader. Someone who goes out there and has to defend it and face evil one-on-one, and that's pretty much what Rocky is. And the entire Rocky series has never been about staunch reality like Raging Bull or other boxing films. It's more of a metaphor about life. And then in the end of Rocky, this last one, Rocky Balboa, he basically has come full circle, and he just, at the very end, just disappears, and the entire journey is over.
Well, as far as the journey, I understand you personally have had an extraordinary spiritual reawakening. You want to tell us about it?
Well, it is. There was a time in there where I was very strict Catholic, and then when I got to Hollywood, and all of a sudden you're given the key to the candy stores, and temptation abounds, and I started to believe my own publicity. And no question, I admit it, I just lost my way. But every time I came back to Rocky, I was given a new shot in the arm, a new reawakening, and then I would abuse it again. And finally, it led to about 12 years of I just was spiraling down, and finally I said, I got to stop. I have to get back to basics. And I really decided to take things out of my own hands and put it in God's hands, because I always felt I was chosen to do something. I was never a writer. I was never an exemplary student. All of a sudden, one day, I started writing Rocky. I wrote it in 3 days, and it wins the Oscar. And I cannot assume that I did this all on my own. I really do not believe that for a second. And I feel the same thing with the last film, that there was a calling. I wanted to do it. And for some reason, I think, Pat, right now, it's a perfect message for what's going on, right? The world's in upheaval. We don't have certain individuals we can look up to. And Rocky's a humble man who really believes in sacrificing himself for the good of others.
Well, I know people will want to watch it. It opens tomorrow in theaters all across America. Have you got good distribution for it?
Oh, it's been fantastic. So far, when I announced this, I was the laughingstock of the country. But I said, you don't understand. It's really dealing with some deep core values. Now, things are just happening. We're on the cover. Today, I just found out we're on the cover of USA Today. It's like a miracle. It's like going back to the first one. I really believe life does repeat itself, and I have to give my complete thanks to all those that have supported me, and by the grace of God, I'm here again.
Well, it's going to be exciting. I look forward to seeing it. I haven't seen it yet, but I look forward to seeing it. And we urge our viewers to join in with you. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. God bless.
It's inspiring. God bless you. Well, Rocky Balboa, ladies and gentlemen, opens tomorrow in theaters across the country. You don't want to miss an amazing allegory of a Christ figure coming against the obstacles of life and overcoming. It'll be a tender moment for you, and bless your Christmas.